Coming up on Chapman News, bold promises, executive orders, growing political debate. We spoke with a Chapman University professor to break down President Trump's first 100 days in office.
More than 50,000 LA County workers have walked off the job today. We'll tell you what they're demanding and also what services have been impacted.
Fake students registering for California college classes, it's costing the state millions of dollars. We'll tell you more coming up.
And a former NFL player arrested at a city council meeting in Orange County. He spoke with Chapman University students about it. That story, plus your weather and sports, coming up.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Thank you for joining us for Chapman News. I'm Kestyn Hudson.
And I'm Maddie Fabricant. Our top story today, the results of Canada's federal election is being seen as a rebuke of President Trump. The Liberal Party is celebrating a win that seemed unlikely just a few months ago. The final count is not yet in, but currently shows the Liberals with 168 parliament seats, with 144 for Conservatives. Prime Minister Mark Carney secured a fourth win for the Liberals, just months after the party appeared to be in trouble, with former PM Justin Trudeau resigning, despite never being elected to public office before. Carney, a former central banker, called for the election. While the Liberals won, they fell short of the 172 seats needed for a majority. Carney's campaign message, defending Canada's sovereignty, resonated with voters who were angered by President Trump repeatedly stating that Canada should become the 51st United State. Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative Party leader, lost his local Ottawa area race and will not be returning to Parliament.
More than 50,000 Los Angeles County workers have walked off the job for a 2-day strike. They are demanding a fair contract and accusing the county of labor law violations. The strike is impacting services like libraries, health clinics, and public offices, many of which are closed today. County officials say they're facing massive financial stress and warn that the union demands could lead to layoffs and service cuts.
Federal agents in Colorado Springs raided an underground nightclub this past weekend, arresting more than 100 migrants accused of being in the U.S. illegally. According to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, the club was a hub for drug trafficking, prostitution, and violent crimes. Guns were also seized at the scene. A special agent at the DEA's office says some active duty military members were working as security at the club and participating in unspecified illegal activities. They have been turned over to Army officials. No specific charges have been announced yet. And President Trump is hosting a rally in Michigan later today to mark his first 100 days in office. He and his top advisors say since his inauguration, the president is following through on campaign promises to remake the federal government.
But many of his executive orders and policies have been controversial. Our reporter, Czerena Bayle, took a deep dive into the president's first 100 days.
Thank you, Kestyn and Maddie. That's right, from sweeping executive orders for mass deportation to enacting tariffs and setting off a trade war. President Trump's return to the White House has reignited political tensions across the nation. Many of the president's most controversial moves involve an unprecedented expansion of executive authority. Trump has pushed through a national voter ID law. He's also restructured the Department of Education and threatened funding cuts to states resisting federal immigration mandates. Scholars like Chapman sociology professor Pete Simi see this as a move to consolidate power.
He's been quite transparent about this over the years. So it's no surprise, really, if you've been paying attention, that he's doing exactly what he's done the first 100 days. And it's been very clear that he wants to centralize power in the presidential office, and he sees himself as the person to do that.
But that aggressive, some say unconstitutional approach could be backfiring. According to recent Pew research, President Trump's approval ratings currently sit at around 40%. Pew also reports that, quote, 51% of U.S. adults say that he is setting too much policy via executive order. However, some Republicans here in OC believe that President Trump is doing a good job and doing exactly what he was elected to do.
He's trying to keep every single promise he made. and he's working fast because I think he realizes he only has 4 years to accomplish everything that he promised to do.
Some critics and scholars say that the president is ignoring the checks and balances system for the 3 branches of the U.S. federal government, and that could spark a constitutional crisis. It's certainly been an eventful first 100 days in the office. With 1,361 more to go, the nation will be watching and waiting for the administration's next move. I'm Czerena Martinne Bayle reporting for Chapman News. Back to you, Kestyn and Maddie.
California community colleges are losing millions of dollars to scammers. Chapman News reporter Caroline Chang has more on the story.
With a limited number of seats available to students, it is already a challenge to enroll in classes at California community colleges. But students vying for those seats are going up against an entirely different force as they are competing against other students who aren't even real.
The dean cannot override the drop, but there is a reason, and that's where I learned about phantom students.
Amani Salama is a victim of phantom students who are actually bots, scammers who register for classes to steal state and federal financial aid. According to a Cal Matters report, the problem has been getting worse. In the last 12 months, colleges have reported a loss of over $10 million to these fake students. At the end of 2024, the California Community College's Chancellor's Office reported 1/3 of all students registering for classes were fake. But this issue goes beyond money. The scammers are taking opportunities away from real students who are trying to earn a degree and start a career. I talked with Alia Rodriguez. She's an engineering student at Mount San Antonio Community College in LA County. Azalia was randomly dropped from a physics course, even though she had enrolled and paid for the class.
It kind of set me back a semester because I was already planning on taking that class so I could transfer.
Azalia says when she went to her counselor, they told her it was a school-wide IT issue. She hopes to take the physics class this upcoming fall. Chapman News asked Mount Sac for comment, but a request was declined. Like Azalia, Amani Salama faced the same problem at Citrus College in Glendora. She was dropped from a math class by her professor who thought she was a phantom student. Amani says when she tried to explain her situation and get back in the course, the professor refused.
She's like, I see you're real, I know you're here, but unless the professor lets you back in, there's nothing I can do.
Though the state is working to improve cybersecurity and community college administrators have implemented preventative measures, scammers are still finding ways around them. All students can do for now is show up to class early and make their presence known. This is Caroline Chang reporting for Chapman News.
Legal challenges to some of President Trump's controversial policies have already made their way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Votes from 2 conservative-leaning justices have surprised some court observers.
Our Angela Hara joins us now to explain these so-called swing votes. Angela?
Thank you, Kestyn and Maddie. Chief Justice John Roberts and Associate Justice Amy Coney Barrett are the 2 that we're talking about. On many cases before the court, they side with the other 4 conservative judges. But in a couple of recent high-profile decisions, one or both of them have swung the other way, joining the 3 liberal-leaning justices, and thus rejecting part of the Trump agenda, or giving the president a very narrow win. For example, a recent 7-2 vote upheld the request to temporarily block the Trump administration from using the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelans to a prison in El Salvador. In this emergency voting decision, both Barrett and Roberts voted with their liberal colleagues. However, this comes after a decision earlier this month when Chief Justice Roberts had formally joined the conservative justices in a close 5-4 win for President Trump. These swing votes are emerging as very critical to the Trump agenda, since many of his most controversial policies are being challenged in the courts, including the mass firing of government workers, orders to freeze funding to universities who don't align with Trump policies, and the elimination of some federal programs. I talked with Professor John Compton, who is the chair of Political Science Department here at Chapman. Dr. Compton says it's important to remember the justices decide cases on legal merit and precedents, not political leanings.
You know, everything these days is very polarized along party lines, and people tend to view the court through a very partisan lens. But, you know, These justices, I think, the bulk of them are trying to interpret events given their vision of the Constitution and what the Constitution requires.
President Trump nominated Barrett, Kavanaugh, and Justice Neil Gorsuch to the High Court, yet Dr. Compton says it cannot be assumed they will always side with the president's policies.
The three Trump appointees are, by no means guaranteed to side with the Trump administration. They are not people who are particularly seen as Trump loyalists. If you go back to Trump's first term in office, when he had these 3 Supreme Court vacancies to fill, he really looked to the, Republican establishment, the Federalist Society, these conservative legal groups to fill those seats.
Among the controversial Trump policies the justices are considering, just last week, the Trump administration asked the Supreme Court to allow a ban that would prevent transgender people from serving in the military. Angela Hara, back to you guys.
I'm Prinny Martinez on the Chapman campus. Deepfake technology is creeping into places you might not expect, including the hiring process. I'll have more for you coming up next.
This former NFL player was arrested as he protested at city council meeting here in OC. Now he tells Chapman students why he did it and why it's important to speak out. That story and more just ahead on Chapman News.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
A former NFL player who made national headlines after his arrest at a local city council meeting is speaking out. Chapman News reporter Grace Song has the story.
That was Chris Cluey at a Huntington Beach City Council meeting in February. He is opposed to the council's plan to place a plaque at the public library, which spells out MAGA, meaning magical, alluring, galvanizing, adventurous. Cluey spoke last week on the Chapman campus and explained why he decided to protest.
But the goal there was to occupy the space and show them you are not listening to us as citizens. You do not have the city's best interests in mind.
Students I spoke to support Cluey.
I was so happy to see a packed house. I thought that was really inspiring.
Cluey says that he still plans to continue his activism and is now focused on upcoming ballot issues.
This is Grace Song reporting from Chapman News.
Artificial intelligence is evolving fast, and so are the concerns around its misuse.
One issue in particular, deep fakes. Our reporter, Prinny Martinez, is live here on the Chapman campus to tell us how these realistic videos are raising red flags.
And Maddie,
Prinny?
experts are warning about the rise of AI deepfakes, especially when it comes to the job market. So how are these technologies being used and what should we be watching out for? I talked to an expert here at Chapman to find out.
Deepfake technology is now being used to create fake job applicants, alter voices, and even generate video avatars for remote interviews.
It's difficult to tell what's real and what's not, especially for the average person. If you look at your social media accounts right now, the percentage goes up every month of what is synthetic versus real.
And once hired, an imposter can use deepfakes to install malware, steal customer data, or even trade secrets from companies.
It's not hard at all for somebody within 10 seconds of hearing you. They can clone a voice. They can call up grandma and say, hey, I'm really struggling right now. This is a simple one. Can you send me $100 to this Venmo and I'll send it?
According to Gartner research, by 2028, 1 in 4 job applicants worldwide could be fake. Experts say companies and individuals need to be more vigilant than ever.
One of the easiest ways to tell is, are the hand gestures always similar? Because there's something about getting people moving that's different. And what I found is really the test is to pause. Because as a real human, when we pause in a question, they have a different answer.
As AI advances faster than laws can keep up, experts say education, better verification methods, and trusting your gut are key to staying safe. I'm Prinny Martinez reporting live for Chapman News. Back to you.
Marine life experts say toxic algae blooms are taking a particularly hard toll this year along Southern California's coastline. The algae occurs naturally and grows in the ocean. So far, it has killed 2 whales and more than 50 dolphins. Sea lions have also been poisoned, and some are attacking humans as a result. The Pacific Marine Mammal Center in Laguna Beach is the only marine rescue center in OC. Staff there say they are doing their best to help each affected marine animal. The Vice President of Education and Ocean Advocacy, Kirsten Donald, tells us why the algae is especially bad this year.
We believe climate change is a large part of it, but also runoff from the watershed. The fires up in LA and the fire retardant was sprayed. That does have a lot of nutrients that feed algae.
If you want to help, you can donate to the Marine Mammal Center by visiting pacificmmc.org. The center staff also advises if you see a sick marine animal, stay 150 yards away and call their rescue hotline at 949-494-3050.
A major disruption is now impacting train riders here in OC. As of yesterday, all passenger rail service through San Clemente is shut down for emergency repairs. It's expected to last up to 6 weeks. The closure affects both Metrolink and Amtrak's Pacific Surfliner. These repairs run below eroding coastal bluffs, which are prone to landslides. A similar shutdown just last year lasted approximately 2 months.
The City of Orange is preparing to release a new budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The city is projected to once again be in a deficit, with the budget gap exceeding $1 million. That's despite the fact that the city has cut several programs and reduced expenses by over $13 million. Popular events like the July 3rd fireworks show, summer concerts, and the holiday tree lighting ceremony are expected to once again be canceled unless alternative funding can be found. The City Council does hope to bring the events back in the future.
Perhaps let's try a year going down that road, and maybe we could bring back a fireworks display next year, should the budget allow.
The proposed budget is expected to go through additional revisions before the council's final approval.
Here in California, local libraries may offer fewer services after the federal government terminated a $15 million grant. The federal grant, which was suddenly cut at the beginning of this month, was provided to the California State Library in Sacramento, which in turn used the money to help pay for educational programs at libraries across the state. Emma Wu, a local resident who frequently uses the Orange Public Library, says the funding cuts are a concern.
Libraries are a really great resource for people to learn about things that they might not have the funds to find educational options for outside of the public library.
Nearly a quarter of the California State Library's budget comes from federal funds. The state library says that there was no reason given for the funding cut.
I'm Courtney Kim. While the upper Midwest braces for severe storms, Southern California can expect cooler, calmer conditions. We'll have more on this contrasting weather coming up.
And I'm Assi Hann with the latest updates on the NFL draft, the NBA playoffs, and how one college swim team is fighting to save their program, coming up after the break.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How was it? Is it good?
Severe storms are causing major concerns across the Midwest, with cities preparing for damaging winds and possible tornadoes.
But here in Orange and the rest of SoCal, we're looking at a cool and calm week ahead. Courtney Kim joins us now with a look at what we can expect. Courtney?
Thanks, you two. Let's get into the weather. You'll definitely want to keep that light jacket handy. Just when we thought spring would start heating up, we're heading into a stretch of good old California cold. We already got a little preview this past weekend with some light rain and wind gusts reaching up to 55 miles per hour. Now, looking at our 5-day forecast for Orange, we're expecting a mix of sun and clouds throughout the week, returning tomorrow, dropping to 70 degrees, alternating between the high 60s, low 70s, and then eventually staying at a high of 67 degrees Saturday, with a slight chance of light rain returning this weekend. Temperatures will stay cool, so if you're heading outdoors, you might want to keep an umbrella close, just in case. Today, highs will barely reach 74 degrees, and by the weekend, overnight lows will drop into the mid-50s. Definitely a good excuse to cozy up and maybe rethink those beach plans, especially with the sea lions reclaiming the coast and that toxic algae bloom still making waves. Meanwhile, it's a very different story across the Midwest. Millions were under threat yesterday as powerful storms brought large hail, damaging winds, and strong tornadoes. Cities like Des Moines and Minneapolis were caught right in the bullseye, with both air and road travel being impacted. As we head into the national forecast, you can see that same storm system is pushing closer to Chicago. Later this afternoon, cities like Buffalo, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Detroit, and Pittsburgh are also at risk for some really rough weather. Though thankfully, it looks like it'll be short-lived. Still, a good reminder that while we're cooling off much of the country is bracing for a bumpy week. Looking at today's highs for Orange County, it looks like we're in for a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, as we're seeing highs averaging from the low 60s to the mid 70s, with Orange reaching the highest at 73 degrees. Shout out to Chapman. We're definitely getting a mix of sun and clouds with cooler temps coming in this weekend, so don't forget to stay warm. I'm Courtney Kim, back to you.
Students in Orange County are able to experience the performing arts and discover its impact thanks to the work of one nonprofit group. Chapman News reporter Ingrid Lee has more.
Arts and Learning Conservatory, a nonprofit located in Costa Mesa, was founded in 2004 by Deborah Wonderchek. Influenced by her mother, Wonderchek was exposed to the performing arts during her childhood and says it was a constant for her during hard times. Now, she's using Arts and Learning Conservatory as a way to continue her mother's message. Every child has a voice.
The arts are going to be something that you can be proud of and have a sense of accomplishment, grow in your academics because of what you're doing within the arts.
The conservatory offers a variety of free classes, allowing students to try everything from musical theater to costume design to learning to play a musical instrument. It's the only organization in Orange County teaching children technical theater. And through these classes, Wonderchek has a goal in mind.
These are going to be our next future musicians, singers, actors, and dancers that we'll most likely be celebrating years to come. So I'm hoping people walk away with that and say, yes, we want to help these children and make an impact in our county.
Wonderchek has seen the results firsthand when students are exposed to the arts.
It gives children a sense of accomplishment, and today's children need that. They need to know they can do it themselves and feel proud of what they have created.
Arts and Learning Conservatory will be hosting its 4th annual Gospel Voices of OC, a special event produced by Wonderchek to celebrate Juneteenth. For Wonderchek, it's about telling history through performances.
Each year we pick different artists to really celebrate and to bring to fruition, because there's so many younger people who have no clue who some of these artists were and the impact that they had on our entire nation.
Gospel Voices of OC will perform on June 22nd at 6 p.m. at Chapman University's Musco Center for the Arts. Tickets are available at the link on your screen. I'm Ingrid Lee, reporting for Chapman News.
There's been an exciting update in the world of sports this weekend.
That's right. From the NBA to the NFL, our sports anchor Assi Hann has more. Assi?
Thanks, Maddie and Kestyn. I'm Assi Hann, here with all of your latest sports news. First, Anaheim's mayor is calling for a name change to the Los Angeles Angels. Mayor Ashley Aiken has made a public letter to the Angels team management. She says that the team name should be changed to the Anaheim Angels. That was the official name from 1997 to 2005. Mayor Aiken says she's a proud fan of the Angels and hopes to improve communication between the city and team ownership. While the city of Anaheim technically owns Angels Stadium, the team's organization is responsible for its operation. The NFL hasn't said if it will take action against the son of the Atlantic Falcons defensive coordinator after prank calling Shedeur Sanders. Jax Ubrick's claim to be the general manager of the Saints, telling Sanders that he would be their next pick last Friday. Sanders was a first-round prospect coming into the NFL draft, but fans and analysts were baffled when he slipped to a fifth-round pick for the Browns, who already drafted a quarterback. The Falcons issued an apology, and the NFL are investigating the matter. The NBA playoffs are heating up in their second week. The Oklahoma City Thunder swept the Grizzlies to advance to the Western Conference semifinals. The Clippers and Nuggets will face off tonight at 7 p.m. Tomorrow, it's the Timberlands versus the Lakers and the Rockets versus the Warriors. Meanwhile, in the Eastern Conference, the Cavaliers swept the Miami Heat, advancing to their semifinals. Today, the Pacers will face off at the Bucks at 3 p.m., the Knicks versus the Pistons at 4:30, and the Celtics versus Magic at 5 p.m. Cal Poly's slow swim and dive team are fighting to keep their program after the school abruptly dropped the sport last month. I talked to one student athlete who is determined to fight that decision.
Sophomore swimmer Sofia Vargas and her teammates were caught completely off guard last month by the decision to cut their swim and dive program.
Walked to this random science building, and at that point it was like 7:30, and then they announced that they were cutting the program.
In an email, Cal Poly SLO blames the shrinking state budget and mounting NCAA legal issues. Now, the team is fighting to save their program. They need to raise at least $20 million, a daunting challenge. So far, the team has raised $7.5 million.
We hope that people see us and see our story and want to make a donation or really just help us in any way.
However, Vargas is frustrated by the way Cal Poly SLO has handled the matter. She says it has now tainted her memory in view of the school.
I'm gonna remember how they treated us and how they've caused a lot of pressure and stress and anxiety for us.
To support Cal Poly Swim and Dive, you can follow their Instagram page at SafeCPSwimDive. That's all I have for today. I'm Assi Hann, and I will see you soon.
Thank you for all the sports updates, Assi. And still to come, we check out tea that has both history and a modern twist. Find out how the owner of a local boba shop is sharing her culture.
Coming up, a viral challenge has made a return over 10 years after it first began, and a Chapman News team member is ready to take it on.
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Good afternoon. I'm Natalie Ross. And I'm Samantha Chang.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chapman News. I'm Steve.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of Chapman News.
Since 2010, Chapman News has been covering weather, entertainment, sports, politics, and news, broadcasting from Dodge College's Marionette Studios.
As the only live newscast in Orange County, our journalists aim to highlight local, statewide, and national communities.
We're here to provide the most accurate, engaging, and relevant news for our community.
Tune in to our nationally recognized and award-winning newscast, Chapman News.
Watch locally on Channel 6 or on our YouTube to stay updated with the latest.
A franchise known for introducing Thai tea to the world, Cha Tra Ma, opened its first OC location earlier this month. Chapman News reporter Ingrid Lee has the latest.
Specializing in Thai tea, Cha Tra Ma dates back to 1945 when the tea factory in the Mae Sai district imported red tea to create the classic Thai tea. Now, the franchise has many international stores to share its culture. Serene Bunkua, co-owner of Cha Tra Ma OC, wants to stay true to the original, but also create her own twist. She added boba to the mix.
But boba and tea together is what I think brings people together.
The tea is prepared using the chok cha method, where the organic tea leaves are brewed by hand and strained in water heated to more than 220 degrees. The tea is then strained back and forth to complete the process. Through the tea, combined with boba, Bunkua is focused on sharing Thai culture with Orange County.
It's very special to me because I feel like the people of Orange County will kind of be able to get a glimpse into our Thai culture by just walking through the doors.
Bunkua also thinks it's important to mentor her young employees.
By hiring the next generation and kind of guiding them and giving them kind of the tools on how to grow and learn and have the skills to live life. By having, for some, this is their first job.
As a tea shop focused on sharing Thai culture, paired with boba to make it unique, Cha Tra Ma OC has successfully combined Thai history with modern tea. I'm now going to try Serene's personal recommendation of the classic Thai tea. Whoa. This is really, really good. This is exactly like when I spoke with a customer earlier who talked about how when she visited Thailand, she tried this exact same tea. But now that there's a restaurant here opened in Orange County, it's a lot closer to home. Reporting from Cha Tra Ma OC here in Westminster, I'm Ingrid Lee for Chapman News.
The viral Ice Bucket Challenge is resurfacing, bringing awareness to a new cause. During the summer of 2014, the Ice Bucket Challenge took the internet by storm while bringing awareness to ALS. Today it is known as the Speak Your Mind Challenge. The goal of this trend is to break the stigma of mental health and raise funds for the nonprofit organization Active Minds, which educates young adults about mental health. A member of our Chapman News crew was nominated recently. Take a look.
Yeah. Thank you, Kai, for nominating me for the USC Speak Your Mind Challenge. I nominate Yulian K., Stravko Stoyanov, Spencer Hayes, Katie Connolly, and Kestyn Hudson. You have 24 hours.
Oh, you got done dirty, bro.
And Kestyn joins us live from outside our studio. Kestyn, take it away.
Thank you, Maddie, and a special thank you to my friend Nathan for nominating me. If you want more information on the very important topic of mental health, or if you'd like to donate, go to activeminds.org. I nominate everyone who's watching this newscast. You've got 24 hours. This has been Chapman News. Thank you for watching. Back to you, Maddie.
And if you couldn't hear her, she's nominating all of us to do the challenge next. Thank you, Kestyn. She's going to go dry off. I'm Maddie Fabricant. Thank you so much for watching Chapman News. We look forward to seeing you next week.